I'm Jane Copier, and you're listening to Happy in the Middle, a podcast for Christian women who want to make the second half of life the best half. This podcast is all about helping women to reignite their spark and step into their divine power in order to create deep and connected relationships and also find that fulfillment and satisfaction they crave. So, if you're ready to grow, join me and learn how you too can overcome guilt, resentment, disappointment, and enjoy the fruits of creating a life well lived. Let's go. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Happy in the Middle. I'm so glad you're here. How are you doing? Are you hanging in there? Our world feels so crazy right now. I know it is no easy task to find the good and look for the positive. So I'm really happy you're here. We're going to talk about some things that are helpful today. But, I just want to say one thing that really helps me is getting out in nature. And I love taking a little morning walk. That fall air is nice and crisp right now. It feels so good. The leaves are turning. My husband and I have spent, I don't know, several days kind of driving the canyons around us. We have at least 6, maybe 8 canyons within about 30 minutes of us. So we love to spend time driving through the canyons and seeing the leaves, and it's just so beautiful. So if you're finding yourself feeling stressed, dysregulated, get outside, go for a drive, go for a nice walk in nature. I promise you it helps. It really does ground you and help you to kind of center yourself again. But, we have this fun little canyon that's not far from us here. It's Butterfield Canyon, and we go to it when we just want a quick little drive, but there's always these little flocks of wild turkeys and we see deer, and it's just so close to the city. It's just amazing. It's so fun, and it just makes you remember all those gorgeous creations that God's made for us. And I just love it. I can't take it in enough. I feel like I have to get as much leaf looking in as I can so that I can deal with the winter months that are coming, which I really do love the snow and things, but probably by February, I'm kind of tired of it. So anyway, we have lots of things to look forward to with fall coming and Christmas and all the holidays and things on the way. So ground yourself, get outside and enjoy some fresh air. That will do so much to heal your soul. So today we're diving into something that every one of us needs. And especially, like I said, with all the chaos going on in the world, we all need better emotional skills. If you've been watching the news, if you've been turning on social media, whatever channel you go to, it doesn't even matter. You are going to be exposed to many examples of people who do not have good emotional skills, people who are angry and inflamed, who don't know how to filter, right? They don't know how to filter their fury. So they're vomiting words all over the place without any regard to how they might land or affect the world around them. It's really a kind of a crazy time to be alive. So today I want to talk about real learnable skills that help you navigate your relationships, help you navigate those challenges, and experience peace in your own inner world. That's what we want. That's what we crave. We see so many people fighting right now, so many arguments, right? So many families destroyed, so many friendships destroyed, so much brainwashing, so much gaslighting, right? It can be so disheartening to see it, but it really is up to each of us individually to manage ourselves, to be emotionally mature so that we can become part of the solution instead of being part of the problem. Okay, so today I'm going to share my top 5 emotional skills that you need to have to thrive. And I'm going to give you some practical examples and exercises that you can use right away. So the first thing I want to talk about is self-awareness. You know what I'm talking about. If you've ever seen someone who seems completely unaware of the way that they are affecting a crowd or a person, you see people who are not aware that they overspeak over people, or that they are shouting, even that they are dysregulated in some way, but they think the other people are the problem, right? Self-awareness is the foundation of every emotional skill, and you can't manage what you don't recognize. So it's becoming familiar with what's going on inside of you. Noticing when you feel emotionally hot or emotionally cold, right? Paying attention to why you're acting the way that you are because of the way that you're feeling. And then asking, like, what am I feeling? And why? Why am I feeling this way? What is the thought that's creating it? Daniel Goleman is the author of Emotional Intelligence. It's a great book. But the way he describes it is knowing one's internal states, preferences, resources, and intuitions. How familiar are you with yourself? Are you aware of yourself in a crowd, in a situation, in a conversation? Are you aware of the things that you do, the things that you say, the way that you're feeling, right? So let me just give you a quick, very simple example. Okay. Let's just say that you're about to snap at your spouse because you just finished cleaning up the kitchen and then they came in and left a mess, right? A self aware person pauses when things like this happen. They notice the frustration rising up, right? They name the emotion. They get curious about what their emotion, where their emotion is coming from, what thought they're thinking that's creating it, right? And then they choose how to respond on purpose. That pause is the power. That pause, taking a moment to check in and get curious about what's going on inside, is the key. So, the way that you practice becoming more familiar with the inside self is to practice pausing twice a day and just asking yourself, what am I feeling right now? And then name the emotion. Do this exercise daily, at least twice a day. What am I feeling right now? Oh, I'm feeling frustration. That's so interesting. Where do I feel it in my body? Why am I feeling it? Over time, this becomes second nature. But if it's something that you struggle with and you're not really sure, and I see this very often with my clients, I'll say, so how does that feel in your body? And what is the feeling? And they really have a hard time naming it. So many people don't understand their emotional vocabulary. So get really familiar with your inside by pausing every day and asking yourself, what am I feeling right now? Name the emotion. And instead of just like the two emotions, the three emotions that are the most prevalent, happy, sad, mad, right? And don't allow that to be your go to. Push yourself to expand your vocabulary. What else am I feeling? What else is it? Is it frustration? Is it discontent? Is it feeling vulnerable? Is it feeling abandoned? What is the exact emotion? Get really familiar with it. Start naming it so that you can start allowing and welcoming more of those emotions into your body. Okay, the second tool is emotional regulation. Okay, so once you can name your feelings, you need to regulate them. And now, this is not about suppressing them. That's what most of us tend to do. We want to push it away. We don't want to feel things. We want to avoid the discomfort of negative emotions. But emotional regulation is all about allowing all of our emotions to be part of our human experience and then be willing to feel them all. There is nothing that can be too much for you to handle when you're willing to feel every emotion. I want you to think about this. The worst thing you'll experience is an emotion, right? We do things, we go out of our way not to feel bad, right? We try to avoid negative emotion at any cost. But that fear of the feeling the negative emotion, like loss or shame or loneliness or anger, that fear is what keeps us stuck in those emotions. So let's just give another quick example. Let's say you receive some critical feedback from someone and it's pretty painful. And maybe you immediately feel defensive, you want to react. Well, instead of firing back immediately, what emotional regulation looks like is you take 3 deep belly breaths, or you go for a quick walk and you breathe through it, right? You take time to bring that emotional temperature down so that you can respond calmly. Maybe you wait till tomorrow, right? That's regulation. It's not leaning into the emotion at the moment. It's allowing it in your body, considering it, feeling it, allowing it to be there, processing it, but not pushing it away, but not allowing it to drive the bus either, right? We're not going to let anger drive the bus. We have to take a step back, breathe, allow it, and then choose on purpose how we want to act instead of reacting. Okay. So, one of the techniques that I've shared with you before, but is really, really helpful in grounding you, is the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 practice. So, let me describe it for you really quickly. Again, I've shared this before, and you can go back and listen to the past episodes on emotions and learn more about it. But basically, you just remember 5 things. You identify 5 things that you can see. So you look around and you notice 5 things that you can see, and then 4 things that you can feel, what you can touch nearby, the texture maybe on your desk or on a lamp. I'm just looking at the things around me on my phone. What's the texture, right? To tune into what that feels like. Then we're going to go for 3 things that you can hear. Listen intently. What are 3 different sounds that you can identify? And then 2 things that you can smell. And finally, 1 thing that you can taste. This really activates your calming system because when you have to focus intently on identifying things that you can see, things you can feel, things you can hear, smell, and taste, it takes your brain away from the triggered thought that was causing the dysregulation. It's such a helpful exercise. Okay. The third thing that you need to work on if you want to be an emotionally healthy adult is building your empathy and compassion. Empathy is our ability to understand and share someone else's feelings. If you've ever experienced empathy from someone else, it's just so lovely. It feels so good. It feels like someone is in it with you, right? I feel like this is what Christ is to me, that person with so much empathy, with so much love. Elaine Walton once said that empathy is essential to love someone as Christ would. And I believe that is true. She goes on to say empathy is enhanced by praying for the understanding of others' feelings that comes only through Christ. Have you ever done this? Have you ever prayed to understand how someone else is feeling? I don't know that I really have. I think I've tried to understand. I think I've put myself in that. I don't think I've prayed for that inspiration. I love that quote so much, and it's something I really want to incorporate for myself. So let's say maybe you have an adult child that tells you that they're struggling with something. Maybe they've made some choices that you didn't agree with, and now they're feeling the consequences of those choices, right? The natural man, the person who doesn't regulate their emotions, wants to jump in. They want to judge. They want to lecture. They want to say, see, I told you so, right? But when you tap into your empathy and your compassion, instead of lecturing, you listen. You acknowledge their pain. You feel for their suffering. Maybe you say something like, wow, it sounds like you're feeling very scared and overwhelmed. I'm so sorry. I've felt that way before. I know it's not fun. You don't have to say, oh, yeah, I told you so, or that's too bad for you. Hard to learn the hard way, right? When you acknowledge their pain and you understand, yeah, I'm sorry you're feeling that. I've felt pain before too. That alone creates safety and connection in your relationship. Okay, so your practice tip for this one, in your next conversation, when you're tempted to judge, when you're tempted to jump to conclusions, listen without planning your response. Just listen. Take your judgment hat off, put your Christ-like hat on, show love, share your perspective from that lens of empathy and compassion. At the end of the day, no matter what people do, they are still worthy of love. They are still a child of God. Can you train yourself to look at them through that lens? That's emotional maturity. All right, number 4 is healthy boundaries. Now, I did a whole episode on this, episode number 9. Go back and listen to that one if you haven't done it yet. But boundaries are a skill that many of us are still learning. Too many of us use boundaries as walls and ultimatums, and we think it's up to other people to comply with our boundaries, but that is wrong. So I'm just going to set it straight here. You probably, if you've been listening to me, you know I'm really passionate about boundaries, but proper boundaries. And proper boundaries are always made from a place of love, love for me, love for the other person. It's never a threat like, if you do this, then I'm going to do this to punish you. That's not what we do. It's not an ultimatum where you say, you better stop doing that or I am going to do whatever, right? A healthy boundary is all about how you will respond, what you will do when a situation occurs. So we don't ask the other person to change. It's not our job to change them. It's just letting them know that, hey, when this thing happens, this is how I am going to respond in order to protect my own emotional health, in order to keep thinking loving thoughts about you, right? Sometimes we have those issues with people when we're around them, and it's really, really hard to control our thinking around them. Sometimes it's good to step away so that we can keep thinking kind thoughts about this person, right? So let me give you another quick example. Let's say you have a friend who likes to gossip. And whenever you spend time together, you leave kind of feeling awful because you don't want to be part of the gossip, right? A boundary in this situation could be saying something like, "Hey, I really love you and I want to spend time with you, but I don't want to gossip anymore. I don't like the way it feels, and it kind of makes me wonder what you might be saying around behind my back. And I love you and I don't want to be thinking about that. So moving forward, when we're together, if it turns to gossip, I'm going to have to excuse myself so that I can continue thinking good things about you and the other people involved." Notice I am not telling them, you can't gossip around me anymore. It's just saying, hey, if this happens, this is what I'm going to need to do for me, right? A boundary is a way you show love to yourself by removing yourself from a situation. It could be from an abusive situation. It could be from anything that's just unacceptable, right? And you show love for the other person by allowing them to make their own decisions about how they're going to act, what they're going to do. Okay. And a side note here, when we set our boundaries, we must enforce them 100% of the time. We only gain control when we enforce it. And usually you'll have to do it a couple of times. But if you don't, it means nothing. It doesn't mean anything to the other people. You lose all of your power. So if you want to be taken seriously, you enforce your boundaries 100% of the time. And then you manage yourself in a way that feels healthy and loving. So say you do leave lunch with a friend because it turns to gossip. It's not your job now to leave and be angry and be like, oh, I can't believe they're gossiping around me. I told them not to. No, 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 no. Your job is to change your thoughts, change what you're thinking about. Start thinking positive things about the people that you were just with. That's how we manage it. That's how we control our emotional health. That's the way that we allow ourselves to feel better, to keep thinking positive things about other people. That's the reason to distance ourselves from them, not so that we can judge and throw back shade. Okay, that's just not healthy either. And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong. When we set a boundary, we do it so that we can improve our emotional health, not send it down another track. Okay. So, your practice tip for this step, man, we always want to take 100% responsibility for our emotions. So, please notice when you're feeling triggered and just ask yourself, okay, is there a boundary here that I could incorporate to make the situation better? Or is there something that I may have done that I need to apologize for here? What can I do to help improve the situation? Sometimes it's a boundary, sometimes it's an apology. You're the one that will know, but you have to ask yourself these questions, right? That's what it is. That's what it means to really take responsibility for your life. Okay, the fifth thing to become an emotionally mature and healthy person is to let go and let God prevail in your life. Like so many of you, I spent much of my Sunday watching Charlie Kirk's memorial service. It was such a beautiful outpouring of love and praise. And I felt like it was just such a beautiful tribute to this giant of a man. There were many impactful moments, but perhaps none more so than when Charlie's beautiful wife, Erica, forgave the young man who took her husband's life. I've watched that clip probably, I don't know, 10 times. And every single time it brings tears to my eyes. It is one of the most remarkable things I've ever witnessed. And I just can't even imagine the strength that must have taken for her. What a beautiful Christ-like woman. She was walking the walk. She was not just talking about what God commands and what Christ would do. She did what Jesus would do. And yet it was also exactly the right choice for her own peace and her future happiness. It's truly why God lovingly commands us to forgive. He wants us to be happy. The burden of carrying that anger and hatred could have destroyed far more in her life for many, many years to come. And forgiving him is the only way that she will have peace, that she'll be happy, that she can move on in the future. Right? You can be resilient and full of hope if you'll make the choice to forgive and let go. It's just as simple as that. And every single day we are faced with choices. Do we choose to let our neighbor's thoughtless comment offend us? Do we choose to hold a grudge when our spouse is forgetful? Do we hang on to resentments over events that happened years and years and years ago? Right? Do we withhold love from one of our kids who makes a mistake? Do we put up barriers in our relationships in an effort to self-protect rather than forgiving and forgetting? As you consider the answer to these questions for yourself, look for those areas where you are creating roadblocks for greater love in your own life. We all do it. It's such a human thing to do. But our work here is to rise above what's normal and to pave a better way. Because we know better. We know that we're not just flesh here on earth having an earthly experience, but we are heavenly beings having an earthly experience. There is a higher way. So, what are you currently choosing that's limiting your joy? Find one thing today that's holding you back and choose to forgive. Give it to God and let go of the pain. In Erica Kirk's closing remarks, she called us all to choose a better path. She said, choose prayer, choose courage, choose beauty, choose adventure, choose family, choose a life of faith. Most importantly, choose Christ. And I think when you practice these emotional skills, when you build these emotional muscles, you are choosing a life of Christ. You are choosing Him. You're choosing to follow Him. Self-awareness, emotional regulation, empathy, healthy boundaries, forgiveness, they are all like muscles. And the more you practice, the stronger they get. And the ripple effect on your peace, your relationships, and your purpose is just incredible. In Proverbs 4, verses 23 through 26, it says, "Keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Put away from thee a froward mouth, and perverse lips put far from thee. Let thine eyes look right on, and let thine eyelids look straight before thee. Ponder the path of thy feet, and let all thy ways be established." I think there's wisdom in these verses, wisdom in keeping your eye on the prize, wisdom in recognizing what you need to do, the work you need to do in yourself to become more like our heavenly parents. I would love to hear which of these 5 skills you're most excited to strengthen. Send me a DM on Instagram or an email. And if you found this helpful, would you leave a quick review? It helps other women find this show, and I so appreciate it. Until next time, keep shining your beautiful light, and I will see you next week. Bye now. Hey, if you are ready to get unstuck and make your midlife amazing, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. And I want to invite you to join my Empty Nest Academy, where you will learn how to transform your mind, your relationships, and your life. Come free yourself of regret and disappointment and be so much happier. Listen, sis, we've got one shot at this big, beautiful life. Let's make it amazing. Go to janecopier.com, that's JaneCopier.com, and sign up today. And if you're not sure what's right for you, book a free consultation with me and we'll talk it over together. And we'll make sure to get you on the path that serves you the best. See you inside.